Hi, this is Steve Wagner from Wagner Reese, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about jail death and injury cases. Not something that you want to talk about, and hopefully not something that you or your family are dealing with. Unfortunately, however, a lot of people die or are seriously injured while they're incarcerated in a county jail. And this scenario happens in a number of different ways. First, you have situations of inmate on inmate violence, where the jail might put a victim in a holding cell with a known predator who sexually or physically assaults the victim. In these situations, the jail can be held liable if they knew or should have known about the predator's tendencies to assault a victim. The second scenario we see on a frequent basis is excessive force by jailers upon somebody. A lot of times, maybe during a cell extraction or any other scenario where force is brought to bear on a victim, a lot of times tasing or physical strikes. This is a situation where if they go too far, there's a claim for excessive force under the U.S. Constitution. The next claim is by far the most frequent situation we see, and that is the failure to provide medical care. Just because you or a loved one are arrested doesn't mean you don't have the right to access necessary and emergency medical care. Oftentimes I see inmates with very serious conditions or injuries that are left untreated and result in serious injuries or deaths. In that scenario, the jail or perhaps their medical contractor can be held liable. The next scenario is the most common cause of death in county jails, and that is suicide. Sometimes it can't be prevented, but in many cases, suicide is preventable and should have been prevented by the jail. When someone is arrested and brought in and goes through the screening process, they're asked questions about their mental health history, about whether they have any thoughts of suicide, whether they've tried suicide before. And in these scenarios, if there's enough red flags, then the jail has a constitutional duty to closely monitor that person until the risk of suicide is no longer present. Next situation that can result in injury or death in a jail is alcohol or drug overdose. And believe it or not, many situations we've seen, it's actually the jail officers that smuggle alcohol or drugs into the jail, which then can lead to a suicide or overdose situation. And lastly is something that I personally have been an advocate for preventing for many, many years, and this is alcohol or drug withdrawal in a prison setting. A lot of people don't know that you can actually die from alcohol withdrawal. There's a very small percentage, 5% of the population, that undergo something called delirium tremens, or DTs, and it is a medical emergency. If someone going through DTs is not taken to the hospital immediately, they're at risk for losing their life. And unfortunately, I've seen many cases where inmates have died unnecessarily while going through alcohol withdrawal in a jail setting. So a lot of people think, if this happens, there's nothing I can do. That's not the case. If you call us, we will investigate your claim right away, look at the available evidence, subpoena the evidence, and decide whether or not the injury or death was preventable. And we've had success in doing that over the years. There's been a number of settlements our firm has achieved, or verdicts throughout the state of Indiana, for $1.86 million, $300,000, $900,000, on down. This is real money that can help the survivors, the spouse, the children of the deceased, and more importantly than anything else, it's about achieving justice. So if you have questions about a loved one who may have died in a county jail, or someone who is injured or suffered a medical condition inside a jail, call us today for a free evaluation. Thanks for listening. I'm Steve Wagner with Wagner Reese.